Welcome to our Dream of the Woods. Today, getting more logs. I saw a deal on a small load of cedar logs, western red cedar logs, and I kind of want to use cedar as my fascia boards and soffits and underneath my covered porch and stuff like that. So I snagged them up, and they're getting delivered this morning. And on the way back, he's going to take this load. Basically, these are all firewood logs, and so I'm hoping that he can get that whole pile on his load, and that's going over to my buddy Travis for firewood. So it's on his way back, so it seemed like a good deal. And then good deal for me because it'll clear up some space to get rid of those, or to clear them out, and then I can put the burnt logs in there and start kind of clearing out the center part of this area. Kind of looking forward to when the SIP panels arrive and have a big semi in here and I need to unload it and need all that space. So just kind of thinking ahead, but he's already picked up the cedar logs and is on his way. Well, this is what the little logs turned out to be. They're all 19 footers, and some of them are real good logs and some of them aren't, but I think I'll be able to get what I need out of them. I don't even think that log is a cedar. I don't know what kind of log that is. It might be a jack pine. Anyway, it smells real good, and I plan on doing the fascia boards for the SIP panels out of these, and then the soffit material, and then hopefully the covered porch. Just have to see how much I get out of that. So, yeah. Bonus. That was a pretty good deal, I think, off of just Facebook Marketplace. So it's freed up all this space. He was able to get all the logs off of that. So I'm not sure how many cords of wood that is, but a lot. So at least a winter supply, maybe 2 winter supply for Travis. So glad to have it out of here, and he's excited to have it, so good thing for both of us. So eventually I'll put the burned Doug fir back in that area, and then the last thing I need to do is address this cutoff pile. All right, kind of have been procrastinating, and as I've been procrastinating, I've just been cleaning. So that's good. Get some cleaning done and organized and all that such. But need to get going. So part of my procrastination is I don't really know what I'm doing, so there's always that. But I think the first thing I'll do is put a string line down this set of bents, get it off the bents so I can measure it with my tape measure and see how that line looks. And then once I'm comfortable with that and the widths at 18 feet, then I'll start at the far end and just make sure that everything is plumb. I already know that the last two bents here have to be racked to plumb out that way. So I know that, and I'll just put a ratchet strap up high on it and then get a brace going and then a ratchet strap to plumb. And so I know that part of it. And then I need to put the bolts in, which I'm not really looking forward to because that's going to be a pain in the rear, but it needs to be done. My plan after that is there's some 2x10s that go just under the eave there, and then there's a 2x10 that goes at that beam on the outside as a kind of a floor joist, floor rim piece. So put those in, and then I think I'm going to start putting in some of the floor joists just to get the structure tightened up, so as it dries out here in the sun, it will minimize some of the wonkiness that could happen. So I know people said to go ahead and cut those rafters to length, and I didn't do that. Part of that's my inexperience, and I knew that I'd have that boom lift, and so I'm going to put a string on the rafter beams and then cut those to length. So that's a little project. I'm going to keep them square like that. I just kind of like that look. So that's my plans. After that's all done, then I think I'm going to switch to milling and get the rest of the milling done for the side pieces. Half of the milling is done, half of it's not, and so be several days of doing that. So probably like 5 days of milling, 5 to 6, 7, something like that. So anyway, still at awe of this structure, in awe of this structure. Okay, I got my string line up. This northern bent seems like it was put in the most accurate, so I'm kind of going off of that. Measured off of the two brackets, measured the 18-foot mark of the bent, and then made sure that it was plumb on both sides. So it all looks good, so I think I'm going to put the bolts in for that. Anchor that one down, and then just work my way south, coming and going, making sure that everything is where it needs to be. So, wish I had one of those little scooter seats that was low to the ground. That might be in my future. Well, first set done. A little bit of a pain in the rear to get those bolts to drill through from both sides, but kind of practiced up on that. So anyway, that one's set. Looks good. Move on to the next one. Well, plugging along here, I just finished the 4th bracket there and have this line out to 4 inches. And so that's 4 there, and then I just make sure with my 6-foot level that everything's good to go there. and then kick it out on the far side to 18 feet, and then do the same thing, make sure the level is good on that one. Only had one problem with this theory is on this bent, it points in just over 6 inches, not even a 1/16 of an inch on both sides, so it angles in slightly. I don't know what that would be at the top floor, but maybe an 1/8. So it's pretty good. So things are going good. I know the last two are the ones that I'm going to have troubles with, and so I'm just kind of working my way that direction. Decided not to film or time lapse this. This is kind of anticlimactic compared to the last video of standing these things, but lots of little details like this have to happen for it to get set. So, and part of the reason why they went up so fast is we could do the fine tuning later. So anyway, things are going good. Okay, we're out here the next morning. I have all the bolts in on the concrete up until this last bent, and I kind of figured I'd have a trouble with this one. So this bracket has 6 bolts, wedge anchors in it, and so I made recesses, 2-inch recess for that to accommodate that so it'd sit flat, but I've banged it over as far as I can go, and I'm about 1/4 inch. That should be 4 inches, and it's 4 1/4. But there's not much I can do about that. So all the other ones are right on 4 inches, nice and straight. So this one's just going to be off 1/4 of an inch, and then I think I will tap this one so it remains 18 feet. So then I think I will adjust the width here so it is 18 feet from outside to outside. So that will also bring this one 1/4 inch wide on this one. So that's just not much I can do about that. It is what it is. So Eric came over last night and we did a little meeting of the minds and decided that's the best we could do. The other thing I did last night is I got the laser out while it was low light and just put the laser on my line so it was exactly the same measurement between these two end posts, and then portrayed that laser up to that one, and it's right in line, so I can go ahead and bolt that and then measure over 18 feet and get those bolts in. So that's the first thing on the agenda today. Had a nice little thunderstorm last night. So we got some rain, some hail, and still trying to drive out my Tyvek. Put that away. I think that'll be handy to have pieces of that around to cover things in the future. So that's what I'm doing. Beautiful day. Anyway, on to the next project here. These are all 2x10s. There's some 2x8s in there spattered, but anyway, looking for the 2x10s, and this is going to be the header for right underneath the rafter beam. So grab a few of these and start on one side, go across to get all those in, and then start on the other side. So first thing up, come grab, maybe I'll get enough for both sides right now. Looks like everything wintered pretty well in there. I'm sure they're beefy. Well, that's a sweet chunk of boards there. So I'm going to cut them down to the right length while they're on the ground, then bring the bucket lift around, try to get all my tools. And I'm just guessing how many times I'll have to come back and down because I forgot something. At least 3. But I put some stickers in here because there's a little bit of pitch here and there, and I just didn't want to smear it onto the next board. So I'm just going to put a little shavings on there and then scrape that off so it doesn't make a mess. Anyway, get back to it here. Cut at least one side to length and get up there and get these boards up. Try to maybe grab this bottom board that's got that wane. I got to cut one down to 6 foot 3 inches. So that looks like the board for that. Anyway, just pleased with punch it going out to the lumber stacks there and then pulling boards out like this. Just, yeah, you mill it right, you store it right, turns out pretty nice. So full 2-inch thickness. I did notice that they shrunk a little bit depending on which board it is. That one's about 3/8. That one's less than 1/4. About 1/4 on that one. So they did shrink a little bit, which is to be expected. And if you're buying a 2x10 at the store, it's shrunk a lot more than that. Okay, quick tutorial on the lift. That's the stop button. That's gas to propane. We always go gas. Slow speed, high speed. High speed is not high speed, just a little bit faster. I think this is glow plugs. I don't ever use that. That's to turn the engine on. This is kind of override if you're unstable. You have to push that over in order to get it to move. Not sure what that is. Not sure. Downhill versus uphill or flat. Extend the boom out. We don't have that button. This is to right the basket, and this is to level the basket. This is up, down, left, right. Horn. So that's about all I know about this machine. And then there's an override. In order to do anything, you have to have your foot on everything. So go up. It's four-wheel drive, but only steers with one set of wheels. It is a bit rocky. When I was putting the vents up that night, I felt like I'd been on a boat all day. So, let's see if I can get into position. Okay, these are the decisions that I question myself. So I put 3 in, I offset them a little bit so they're not exactly on the same line. I came down 4 inches from here. I'm eventually going to have to put something up here to nail a 2x6 in so I can put my sheeting clear flush all the way to the top. The roof panel will sit flush on top of the beam, so I will need something there. I also kind of want to get a little spray foam back in there, so anyway, I went 4 inches. And then, I don't know, seems good. So, not too bad with the lift. I can pretty much get it within about a 1/2 inch, and then I can lift it with one hand and start the screw, have the screws already started and screwed in pretty easily. So try to keep that line going across. Solid. That's a good connection. So let's keep going. There is the header installed on this side. 2x10, true 2x10, and then we're putting those 4-inch screws in. So structural screw. Well, I was able to come out and get the last of the 2x10 up on this side, so now both sides are supported. I think my next thing, I'm going to do a little more supporting of that rafter and put a couple boards on top, maybe up by the peak and then down the side, just to have some more support there, and then start working on the rafter, joists between the vents, and sure that all up. So it's going to be hot, and so I think I'm going to try to come out and do some early mornings, work until noon, 1 o'clock, go take a siesta, and then come back out at the evening, just to kind of mediate the temperature. Well, I realize this video isn't that exciting compared to the last video putting up the vents, but necessary steps to try to get this project continuing forward, shoring everything up. Just a little bit worried of it baking out here in the sun and those timbers doing some things that we don't want them to do. So not much we can do about it now. They're up in the air, but we'll do what we can. So anyway, I appreciate everyone watching. Also wanted to make sure I put a huge thanks to Chris with Minden Well Drilling. He's the one that let us borrow that crane. Just tremendous company, and I just can't say enough about Chris, based out of Moyer Springs by Bonner's Ferry. So thanks again, Chris, and it worked great, and I just appreciate all the accommodations you did for us. So thanks for everyone watching, and we'll catch you with the next video.